Hey guys, I'm back! So, it has been a minute since I have filmed anything, so I apologize in advance for the lack of professionalness that this video is going to have, okay? I'm trying. I am dipping my feet back into the YouTube game, into the bullet journaling game, after a very long break, and I'm glad to be back. Honestly, I need to come back. Because without YouTube keeping me accountable, I just don't bullet journal that much. So here we are, brand new year, brand new bullet journal. Did you get a peek at this thing? It is absolutely stunning. This bullet journal is from the Quirky Cup Collective. I believe it's an Australian brand. I will link it down below. And it is quite simply the prettiest journal I've ever seen, so naturally all of my spreads today will be themed after the journal itself. So gear up for a lot of greens and purples and golds, and let's get started. So if I haven't already mentioned this is my reading bullet journal. So it's mostly going to track my reading goals throughout the year, but my yearly spreads have the few personal spreads that I include in my bullet journals for personal goals and like calendars and stuff like that. That'll be in today's video, along with my reading yearly spreads, which are always super fun to make and very pretty. And I'm really proud of these spreads, guys. I really am. They took a long time, I will tell you that. Not for the faint of heart. A lot of coloring in, a lot of winging it, if you will. So here is my first spread. This is my title page for the year of 2025. I chose to do just the right hand side kind of title page moment instead of like a full spread, which I have done in the past. And that's because I'm going to do a cutout, but we will get to that later. I tried really hard to mimic the style of the cover of my bullet journal on this page. I have some leaves in there. It's going to be dark green. I'm going to put gold in it. Honestly, it took me a long time. It took a long time to design this page, and I just kind of made it up. As you could see from the beginning, I had my sketches all planned out, and that took a long time. The sketching itself took forever. There's no way I was going to film that because it was just a mess to come up with. And I deviate from the sketch a little bit even here, as you can see. I'm going to be using a lot of washi tape. Washi tape is like my best friend in the whole world if you're new here. And a lot of my gold gel pen, which I painstakingly colored in. This like frame in the center is all gold gel pen. Nothing special. I'm also using alcohol-based markers for the most part in this video. If you know anything about alcohol markers, they are very pigmented, they blend really well, they get really crisp, beautiful colors. However, they bleed like a bitch. Okay, so I do skip pages in between spreads. You will see the bleeding throughout this video. I wish I could tell you more of how I created this spread. Besides, I made it up and I went along with it, and I tried to mimic the cover as best I could. That's all. Right now I'm trying to like kind of give the illusion of a drop shadow kind of a thing to these numbers by using a slightly darker green on the outside. I think it adds depth to the numbers. I don't know, but then I go over and I outline things with the black pen. I wish I could say I wasn't just making stuff up, but I am. Like these green leaves, I'm adding in these two areas. Like that was an afterthought. I just was like, this needs something, so I put these here, and I gave them gold veins, which I don't know. Best idea? Probably not. It is what it is. And at this point in the process, I was like, well, it feels empty. It does not feel like the cover at all. So I go in with my gold gel pen and I start putting lines around things, like kind of outlining the boxes. I have the triangles, I guess, and just trying to get that kind of geometric aspect that the cover has and making it up as I go along. As you can see, I'm just kind of staring at it and going, well, I think a line could go here and maybe here, and just trying to be precise with that pen as best I can. And that is kind of where I stop with that title page. I didn't want to push it any further. I was scared, to be honest. I was like, well, I've spent hours on this thing, and I think it's good enough. I do like it. And now here I'm cutting out that frame, because I'm going to have a quote in that frame that's going to be on the other side of the page. As you can see, look at that bleeding, guys. Disaster. So I have this paper with gold foil on it, and I'm just going to paste that on the back to hide that, because I don't know why I didn't just skip a page from the beginning. I was like, I'll just put paper here. Anyway, it is what it is. I don't love that. I kind of wish I just skipped a page and glued 2 pages together like I normally do, but I went with this. So I had to cut out another hole, and that is after I put this gold washi tape down to give a border to this page. Honestly, this spread, after doing that first one, I'm like, this one is going to be as simple as I can possibly make it. So here I'm cutting, again, a hole for that frame. While I'm finishing that up, by the way, I am sorry if you hear a heater going in the background, if, you know, this just isn't the most professional video you've ever seen, because I am in a new house, a new to me house. It's actually a very old house. It's drafty, and I'm freezing, so I have to have a heater going at all times. And there's also, we've had like a ton of flies this winter. I don't know why, but anyway, it's an old house. The flies get in there, and then you know how flies are like addicted to light sources. So my ring light, anyway, if you see flies buzzing around, or if they make their way in this video, ignore them, please, for my sanity. They drove me nuts while I was working on this, and they don't need to drive me nuts in the editing process, okay? They don't exist. All right, moving on. Here we go onto my quotes page. I'm just doing a cute little calligraphy moment. I'm not following a font or anything. I'm just kind of winging it. I have practiced calligraphy enough over the years that I can just kind of do it now. It's not perfect by any means, but it fits my standards. So there you go. This is my quote that I wanted to kind of encompass this year with. And it is, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord and not for man. Colossians 3:23. I read the Bible last year, and that was my goal, the one goal I finished last year, and so it really inspired me to put a Bible quote in my bullet journal. But, you know, put whatever quote you want in your Bible. This is just the one that I wanted. I wanted a quote to remind me that no matter what your passion is, no matter what you want to put work into, just do it, man. Not to be Shia LaBeouf, but like, do it with all your heart, because anything that you put time and passion into, it should be worth it to you. It should be done with all your heart. And it doesn't matter what that is. It doesn't matter if it's cooking, cleaning, drawing, you know, whatever it is, do it with your whole heart. And that's kind of what I want to take into this year. And I thought that was a really good quote for my bullet journal, because bullet journaling takes a long time, guys. It's a commitment. I'm not going to lie to you. And so I want that reminder. Like, it seems silly. It's just a journal to track my reading, but I'm going to do it with my whole heart. Even if it's a huge time commitment, I'm going to do it. So let's move on to my next spread, which is my 2025 bucket list spread. So in the past, I have done a like yearly goals page, and you know, I just decided I don't really like them anymore. At least in this season of my life, I've decided to not do a goals page and instead do a bucket list page, which is basically a goals page, but a lot less pressure. I've found that most of my yearly goals I don't actually stick to, so I feel like crap when I look back on the year and go, well, I didn't actually complete any of these. Like, I think I've only ever completed one yearly goal in my life, which was last year. And even that, like, all the pride and stuff I felt for that was kind of like, I felt really good about it, but and then a new year started and I go, oh crap, I have to do this all over again. It's like, it's just silly. Like, I mean, I'd rather goals not have like a set time frame, if you know what I mean. So we're doing a bucket list this year, which is basically a goals page, but it's going to be filled with smaller goals, just like things I want to do this year, with my bigger goals sprinkled in. And I'm not going to like hold myself down to some sort of time frame or anything like that this year. I have a huge year ahead of me, so I'm just going to keep it simple this year and do a bucket list. And this spread is also very simple, probably the simplest one I do today. And here you can just see I've made basically a checklist. Yep, it's a glorified checklist page. All right, don't you just love bullet journaling? It's like glorifying checklists and calendars and stuff like that. I just love it. All right, we're gonna move on from that one, and we're getting into my 2025 at a glance spreads. All right, so here we're gonna be doing a lot of cutting. I sacrificed a lot of pages for this spread. Okay, basically every month is going to have its own mini page. I'm doing the book within a book method here. As you can see, I'm just cutting and cutting and cutting. I think I don't know how many pages total I sacrificed for this spread, but it's okay because I think this bullet journal has over 200 pages, which is awesome because I run out of pages if it's only like 150, 160. So I felt confident that I could cut out this many pages and not run out of room. I rather not have 2 bullet journals per year, just 1 bullet journal a year, keep everything in one place. I tried to one year and it didn't work. I didn't fill either of them up, and it was a pain in the butt having things in 2 separate places. So that's just another reason why I love this bullet journal. It's got a ton of pages. I think it's 160 GSM, is that right? I don't remember. But anyway, it's a great bullet journal. Still has really quality pages for how many there are in the book, and it's not like a super thick book either. Anyway, enough gushing about this bullet journal. Let's talk about this spread. So I'm just coloring in the background. We're doing light green this time. Oh, also, my nails are back. The nails from the beginning of the video, they're back because this is actually the first spread I started with. I was too scared to tackle that title page first, guys. I was like, I need a warm-up spread. I need a warm-up spread, which I'm glad I did that because I don't think my title page would have turned out as well as it did if I hadn't kind of warmed up on this one. So I filmed like the initial like, here's my bullet journal, and then this right after it when I had these nails on still, and then I lost them because well, they're fake obviously, and I can't keep nails on very long. I just can't. It's not in my blood. All right, so enjoy them for this spread and this spread only, and let's talk about it. Okay, so here a Farah interruption. This is my living, breathing dust bunny. Her name is Farah, and she wanted to help me out on this spread for a little bit. I have moved on to working on the text of this page. Now, text can make or break a bullet journal, I think. It can really amp up a spread, or it can kind of ruin it. So I do spend a lot of time on any words, any fonts that I put into my bullet journal. And basically my big secret is that I imitate fonts that I find online. That's really all it is. I go to dafont.com. They've got a huge selection of different styles of fonts. I pick one I like, and you can like type in sample text, and so I'll type in 2025 glance, and then it shows me that font on the screen and I just copy it as best I can into my bullet journal. That's my big secret. It's pretty easy, I think, to copy fonts in a bullet journal because of the dots on the page help keep everything the same size and straight and all of that. So that's my big secret when it comes to text. Is it time consuming? Yes. Is it worth it? Absolutely. So that is what I'm doing on basically every spread. I'm just imitating this font. I don't remember the name of it. I might put it in the description down below. It's just a nice little font to do. And so here I'm starting on the book within a book part. This is where I'm putting like mini calendars of each month, and I totally mess up these first 2 calendars. I think I put like 8 lines instead of 7, 8 columns. Anyway, I realized that later. And then the purple rectangle is where I'm going to put a photo of the highlight of that month, which I've done in the past. I've called it my like yearly highlights page, where I put like a photo of a standout moment of that month. I used to do that on like a totally separate spread, but I'm like, this year I'm just gonna put all my calendars and my photo. We're just gonna do it all in the same spread. So that was the method behind the madness there. I am fiddling with the border and adding a little bit more spice to it, and I actually do really like the border and how it turned out on this spread. I think I did a good job. I truly can't believe I made it through this spread with not a single piece of washi tape. That is impressive for me. I do have an addiction, and that is putting washi tape borders on every single spread. But this time I made my own border, and I should do it more often because truly it's probably one of my favorite things I did in all these spreads is make this border. And all I'm doing is using my little metallic gold gel pen, and I keep kind of referring back to the cover and just kind of imitating any of the filigree I see there and the swirls, and just trying my best to imitate some of that style. And for like the thin parts of the border, I literally just squiggle, and it's effective and I like it, and I'm just tickled with how it turned out. Alrighty, now we are moving on to my bookish spreads. I'm so excited. So all the more personal spreads, they're done. We're moving on to specifically book-related yearly spreads. As you can probably tell from my sketching, we're moving on to books, baby. As you can see, we are starting with the border, and I'm using a marker to do the border. And if you thought for a second, maybe we're not gonna do washi tape, well, think again, alright? Because we are coming in hot with the washi tape, and we're coming in hot with the snap transition, alright? No washi tape was spared in the making of this video. I'm obsessed. Now, okay, here we go. I'm actually doing a really cool technique there. Not cool, it's just a technique. But before starting on the text and markering that in, I lightly erased the sketch I had of the text with one of those gray putty-like erasers. I don't know what they're called. But if you lightly erase with one of those, you can still see your lines, but then the pencil lines are a lot lighter. And the weird thing about pencils is that if you have a sketch and then you marker over it, you can't really erase the pencil lines if you marker on top of them. If you pencil on top of marker, yeah, you can erase that. But for some reason you can't erase the lead after you've markered on top. So it's a really good tip to try to erase your lines before going in with markers, which I totally forgot about that tip until this spread, and I was like, hell yeah, we're gonna do that today. And that's a tip for you. I know I gib gab most of the time and don't really talk about much, but That's a tip. As you can see, I am going in with my little pens. Just ignore the flies, okay? We talked about this. I'm going in with my, what are these pens called? My Micron pens or whatever, they're my art pens. Outlining these books, this stack of books, and then coloring them in, and each color is going to correspond to some later spread down the line. But this is going to be my star rating system. So here I'm going to put stars on the spine of each book, and that color is going to correspond to the rating that I'm going to be giving my books this year. I have 5 books in this stack, but I am not doing a 1 through 5 star rating. The thing is, I rarely will finish a 1-star book. If it's a 1-star book, I should have DNF'd it. And I'm not one who is scared to DNF, typically. So very rarely will I have a book that's as low as even a 2-star. So I just go 3 to 5, and I put, 3.5 and 4.5 in between, because I am a girly who loves a good half-star rating. This is going to be my to be read spread. And here's the thing about TBRs. I don't do them often, mate. I really don't. Typically my monthly spreads won't have a TBR because I can't stick to a TBR to save my life. I'm a mood reader, but I do like starting the year and kind of thinking about the books that I have that I've been meaning to get to, and I like having just a general TBR for the year. I do like having that. So that is what the right side of the page is going to be. The left side, after adding those little, I don't know, sparks or like those like action lines, you could say, is pretty much done. The left side of the page is pretty much done. I'm working on the border right now, and I'm giving a drop shadow to the calligraphy over here, similar to how I did on the quote page. I love a good drop shadow. I think it can really elevate some handwritten calligraphy. And we're back to the border, which, even though I did use washi tape, I am kind of doing what I did on the previous spread and adding some more swirls and filigree and what have you. So that's kind of how I'm going to wrap this spread up. Hey, if you're still here, thank you so much for watching. I hope that this video is decently well done. It has been over a year since I have bullet journaled seriously and YouTubed at all, so it's been quite a big hurdle to get over, setting up a new bullet journaling space and starting over kind of, and just kind of getting back into it. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I am wrapping up this spread very soon. I'm just doing another kind of a checklist for this TBR page. And there you have it. We are moving on to my Goodreads Goal page. And I just love this page. I know a lot of readers do a Goodreads Goal, and I am no different. Last year my goal was 100 books. I didn't quite make it. I read 90, which is still really impressive. Now I will say, don't be too impressed. I would say 80% of the books I read are audiobooks. So take that 90 number with a grain of salt. I'm not a very fast reader, so audiobooks are a big deal to me. Anyway, so last year didn't quite make 100. This year I'm going to set that as my goal again. I really want to reach it. I can do it. I know I can. I just had well, you know, I had a rough end to 2024, okay? Not to get too into it, but like personal stuff happened and I just didn't read as much. So yeah, there's another snap transition for you. So I love having my Goodreads goal in my bullet journal, and basically all it is I make a box for each book, each potential book, I guess. And then when I finish a book, I color in the box. That's all it is, because I guess having the goal on Goodreads isn't enough for me. I need a spread. And this year I'm actually really excited because typically I would just color in the box based on if it was an audiobook or a physical book read. But this year I'm taking it a step further and I'm doing Audible, Libby, Kindle, or book. And each of those will have its own color, as you can see. So then when I look back at the end of the year, at a glance, I can see like, oh, I read a lot of Libby, or I read a lot of Audible books this year, or I actually read my Kindle more than I like reading physical books. You know, I'll just have that information at a glance. So moving on, this is a really fun spread. This is my bookshelf spread. Again, it's kind of like a visual overview of the books I'm going to be reading this year. At the end of the year, every book on this shelf, hopefully, will be filled in with the corresponding rating color that we had 2 spreads ago on that book stack. The color of the rating, that like chart, I guess, that color key is on that first spread. I have really zoomed through the outlining of each book because that's pretty boring. We're moving on to drawing the fun little aspects of the bookshelf. So I've got a couple horse head bookends because I love horses, and we've got a plant, and I have a little trophy that hopefully at the end of the year I will be coloring that in if I reach my goal. And yeah, I forgot to mention, so along with coloring each book the corresponding rating color, I will also be putting the name of the book on the spine. So it's just a really quick, easy way to see how my reading went throughout the year. Like, what was my average rating? What books were my favorite? And they're all just going to be in one place on this spread. So I love this spread. I think it's so much fun. And let's finish it up. It's a pretty simple one, to be honest. It's going to end looking pretty bare and not very colorful because, like I said, hopefully by the end of the year, the shelf will be full of colors. So that wraps up my bookshelf spread, and we're moving on to the final spread. I do believe this is the 8th and final spread of this video. Oh my goodness, if you're still here, thank you so much. It's a long one, I know, but there's a lot of spreads today that I had to do. Here we go. This is going to be my hauled books page. I've never done a spread like this before. And I decided to do it this year because, well, I don't know, I just needed something. And I finally remembered that I actually really wanted a spread where I can write down the titles of the books that I receive in subscription boxes. Because I used to get, I think I'm going to cancel some, but I used to get like 3 books a month. And I cannot remember what those books are, if I've read them. Like I forget what I received. So I have been meaning to make a spread like this for years, and I finally remembered. So I have on the left side is from book box subscriptions, and then on the right side is just going to be a list of any other book I might happen to buy or whatever this year. And that way I kind of keep track of like, how many books am I buying? Am I even reading them? Because I'm going to have a place like to check off if I've read them. That is also super important for those book subscription boxes, because I don't want to be subscribed to them if I'm not even reading the book. And so I just really needed a place to keep them all in line, keep track of them, and keep track of if I've even read them. So that is the goal of this spread. It's just kind of keeping track, maintaining the books I'm bringing in versus the books I'm actually reading. Like I said, I used to be subscribed to like 3 books a month last year. It's overkill, okay? I cannot read that fast, especially physical books. So I think I'm gonna cut it down to just 1 book subscription a month, which is, it's gonna hurt a little bit, but I gotta do it. Oh my gosh, guys, we did it. We made it to the final flip through. Looking back at this title page, having finished the rest of the spreads just makes me appreciate it that much more, because I think I put the most time into it. I put the most thought and planning into it, and I think you can really tell. It really, I think, matches the overall feeling of the bullet journal itself and the cover. So I just love it to death, and I love the window peek through to my quote. I just think it's a really pretty way to start my bullet journal. And moving on to my bucket list, as you can see, finding a wedding dress, getting married, 2 huge goals that are definitely on my bucket list this year. And I can't wait to finish filling that out with cuter, littler goals to sprinkle in with those massive ones. And now my 2025 at a glance. Here are all my months. As you can see, I really cut out a lot of pages for this spread. I did. But I do think it was worth it. I love a book within a book moment. And what better time to do that than on this particular spread? So I can't wait to fill this out throughout the year. Now on to my reading spreads. These are truly some of the most striking spreads I make all year long. I just love the books of 2025 text and that book stack. There's something about it. It kind of lights a fire under my butt to get to reading. I just love doing these spreads every year. They're pretty much the same, but my bullet journal wouldn't feel complete without them. So I am always super proud of them each year. They're so fun to make. There's something nice about knowing ahead of time what your spreads are going to be, and this was no different. I love how these spreads turned out. I cannot wait to see this Goodreads goal filled out at the end of the year and see what format I'm using the most, because I really don't know. I'm curious. Here is my bookshelf spread. Like I said, it's kind of basic right now, kind of boring, but it shall be more colorful by the end of the year. Mark my words. Last but not least, my hauled books page. Very similar to the previous ones, with the border being dark green with the gold swirls. Beautiful spread. I think I will get a lot of good use out of it, so I'm excited for this. Overall, I'm just really excited about this entire bullet journal. I am so proud of how this turned out. This was the last spread. I hope you guys enjoyed this bullet journaling video. I hope you got some good inspiration from it, or maybe you just relaxed the whole time. Whatever you got out of this video, I just hope you got something out of it, and I hope you enjoyed it, because I enjoyed making it. I enjoyed the whole process. I'm just happy to be back doing this. Cheers to 2025. This will be the year of bullet journaling. I know it. Subscribe if you feel so inclined to continue this journey with me, and I hope to see you in the next one.